Hello, I'm Toycat and welcome back to our third channel walk and talk video. Today I'm in Cabo, San Lucas, Mexico, and I'm here in what is, I'm going to be honest, effectively a resort town in Mexico. And I have a confession to make to you, internet. I want to make this right now, and that is that I've never really been interested in resort places anywhere, as you might expect. Like, I don't know, so for instance, here in Mexico there are places like Cancun, there are places like this or Playa de Piata, and they've never really interested me because you're not seeing a country when you travel somewhere to a place like this. You're seeing the version of that country that is set up specifically to sell to foreigners, right? Specifically to sell to tourists. Maybe you could say foreigner tourists or some combination of those two things. And so I've never really been hugely interested in the idea of a place like this because you're not seeing a country, you're just seeing a weird extension of your country. Or in the case of Cabo San Lucas, it's almost exclusively Americans and Canadians who come here. So I'm seeing like a, I'm seeing like this very weird American/Canadian representation of Mexico, which I'll admit is interesting in its own ways. In a lot of ways I wasn't expecting when I was being very cynical about coming here. But you might question, like, so you're in Mexico for 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks, and it's actually not my choice to be here. It is a legal requirement for entering the United States. But I'm in Mexico in 2 weeks, outside of my own volition, and so why choose to be somewhere like this? And it's because of an even more embarrassing admission that comes under the surface from this, like this weird elitism about like, oh, yeah, when I go on holiday, I'm not just there to have a holiday. I want to learn some things about some other people and maybe learn some things about myself by extension of that. You know, I'm one of those snobby people inside my own head, and I'm sure a lot of people who watch my channels probably match that. I feel like it's very common amongst young people especially. But then, like, why didn't you go visit somewhere like, I don't know, Oaxaca? Why didn't you stay in Mexico City, given that you had a flight there anyway? And I have an embarrassing admission about that too. And it's something, I don't know, it's not something I'm proud of. It seems like the opposite of how I should be. But I mentioned before, this kind of like, one of the few things that I like need to connect to a person is like same language proficiency. In my case, as an English mono speaker, that is the English speaking ability, right? And it sucks because when you're in certain parts of the world, I feel like some parts of the world are really good, or at least managing as a second language English, but some parts of the world are not. My experience in Mexico City was really interesting. I got to see the biggest city in North America, one of the biggest cities in the world that just doesn't have much capacity, if really any capacity, for English speakers. And again, that's a major city, so like imagine how much worse it gets in the less major cities in Mexico. But one of the things I realized from that, and indeed some of my other experiences in countries of similar things, is just like, I don't know how to describe it, maybe a little bit of fear, but not even quite fear is the right description for it, like a weird anxiety, apprehension or something. And most of the time I feel like, you know, the trick with anxiety is like the moment you realize it's inside your own brain, you can start to address the root causes of it. But something in particular about, again, the Latin America, I think is what you'd broadly call the non-English speaking parts of the Americas. There's like an apprehension about like, oh God, there is something that, okay, you know, like something that I find stressful is like when someone needs a thing from me. It's even more stressful when someone is willing to take a thing from you, which happened to me in the Dominican. You know, just a little side note, maybe it's part of the reason it's like such a deep-seated feeling as like the time I was robbed in the Dominican. But one of the things about, I would say this is true for like any language that is so proficient and like it happened to me to some extent in mainland China, where like no one spoke English besides a hotel person. Like I couldn't find my hotel and I needed directions. Not a single person could give them to me. Again, Google Maps was giving me to the wrong place. I was terrifying. I spent an hour walking around a block, desperately looking for a hotel that I could find nothing on. And because, you know, Google Maps is slightly incorrect in China. That sucks. That is not a fun situation. That doesn't teach you anything. Like I guess trying to communicate like hotel in another language might be fun, but when you're talking about one hotel in a city of thousands, it's not fun. Maybe I'm just doing these experiences wrong. But my point here, what I'm trying to say, is one of the things that gives me a feeling I don't like, and I wish it didn't, but it does, is being spoken to, being asked something in a foreign language, then trying to like work out like, oh, so English, and then if not, like, let's try and do this, and then not being able to, and then just repeating in, again, so for instance, I was in a security line at Mexico City Airport to board my flight to here, and the guy at security just kept saying something like before he could go through, like park here, something like that. I actually don't know what he was saying. I was like, sorry, park here, sorry, park here, Inglés, park here. And I was like, what could this possibly be? And after like the 6th attempt, he's just like, sure, go past. But I can't stop thinking about it, because it's like, what did he want that was so urgent he had to ask me 6 times, but then after 6 times, he was like, it's probably fine. And this is security, you know, like, if it's a guy on the street, this is an interesting police van. It's got solar panels, it's got a little building. What am I looking at right now? This is so bizarre, huh? This is incredibly bizarre. Anyway, so I realized one of the things I guess I'm not wildly glad about is, like, from my travels around the world, realizing that there's so much more that I get from traveling the world where English is at least proficient. You know, we're talking EU, but also obviously New Zealand, Australia. I'm sure, like, there's a lot of other English majority countries I'm missing, like the South Africas, the Fijis, the whatever else of the world. You know, I'm very lucky, or maybe unlucky, if you believe language is a thing that brings cultural greatness to the world. But I'm very lucky that I speak a language that is so widely proficient everywhere. And I can imagine how, like, if you do come from a country where you're, like, again, if you speak a native language from a small tribe somewhere in an African country where that is not even the lingua franca of your country, let alone any other country, I can imagine how much that must really quickly suck, right? Like, in no time at all, that can go from, oh yeah, I can only really connect to people when I speak to them in a way where we're actually understanding each other. Because like, this is just turned into a rant at this point. This was gonna be a well-structured thought, but now I'm just, I'm going on, I guess it's fine. But something I think is interesting is, even in the same language, it's hard enough to connect to most humans, I would say. Like, the vast majority of humans, I do not have a connection with, and I like to believe I can have one, but it's at the very least hard, right? It's at the very least not something that's easy to do. It is intensely bright for me, by the way. I'm sorry if it's showing up on the camera, or maybe if it's not showing up on the camera, because isn't the whole reason people come to hot countries where they have no connections to the people, and their goal is to be in a place like this is just because of the weather? Isn't that the most cynical thing? We invented, like, travel this way to, like, see people from incredibly far away, and then we worked out the most marketable way to do it is, like, what if you could travel thousands of miles, but instead of, like, seeing anything new, you'd get exactly what you're used to where you're from, but with slightly hotter weather. And that was the part we lure people in. People like exactly what they like right now, and they like it very slightly different. I want roughly, in this case, this is an American-Canadian tourist spot. I want roughly a medium-sized American town, or Canadian town, sure, and I want that medium-sized town, but I want it in a slightly hotter climate with some palm trees. Give that to me, I'll give you my hundreds of dollars to fly me there. And that is a successful enough business model, it seems. It's, in fact, the most successful. There are so many hundreds of flights a week into Cabo from inside of the North America, whereas if I wanted to get a flight to Mexico, there was one flight leaving the UK the day I wanted to leave. So it's interesting, right? It's interesting the difference you'll find in these things. I don't know where I'm going for the record, but it's fun to just explore sometimes. It's fun to just kind of see where you go. But yeah, so it's weird because you can have so many, connecting with someone and, like, actually understanding someone is kind of hard when you speak the same language. I experience this so much on the internet because I'm being bombarded with strangers all the time, with their thoughts and feelings, as broken as they are and as nonsensical as they are to me. Yeah, it's interesting because I get, like, a version of this every single day. By the way, I know it looks really scary because you're chest mounted. I assure you I'm looking both ways before traffic. You can rest assured, if it looks like I'm not looking before traffic, I'm probably using my head. But you're not using my head, that's not okay. But yeah, it's hard enough to connect to someone in the same language. And then like, once you cross that barrier, it gets another much higher degree harder. Even I've had many long conversations with people who do, in fact, you know, like of a second language where they've got like an incredible English proficiency, like the sort of second language level that makes me kind of jealous in a way. But even in these cases, even in those cases, there's still like something a little bit missing. There's still so many points of misconnection that happen, because I think, you know, so much of, I wouldn't say language shapes your mind like some people do, but it does shape how you express thoughts. Like, there's that English tree of letters. It's something like, you describe color first, then you describe size, then you describe other adjectives or something like that. And you don't think about it until you say like, the big, oh wait, no, it's like the big green spoon is normal. The green big spoon is slightly off in a way that, you know, it doesn't matter by itself. But when that adds up 100 times in conversation, I learned about an English rule that I knew instinctively because I looked at it and it felt weird, but there's no reason any non-native English speaker is learning unless they're going really deep in the paint, because you can't have free ease in their own English. That is a rule that is not okay. The word freer, you know, someone who is more free than someone else, a freer person, that is spelled with 2 E's, because free ease is not okay. And it's the sort of thing that just, you don't think about. It doesn't, you know, like, why is the plural of goose not gooses, when I think the plural of moose is mooses, right? It's geese. Why is the plural of moose not meese? Why is the plural of house not heace, you know? There's a lot of these weird things that are like hard to pick up. And I'm sure you can after enough trying, and some people on the internet who spend all their day reading and learning English, they totally do get it. I do understand that. Ooh, we got some municipal police here. That's exciting, probably. But yeah, it's kind of one of my things that I'm not proud about myself, and I wish it wasn't true. I wish I was good at learning languages. Wish I was a polyglot, and I wish that I wasn't like. I wish that one of the responses to being told something in a foreign language by someone like super authoritatively wasn't like freaking out, like what the heck could they mean? How do I, you know? But it kind of is. I think I mentioned like, and it's interesting because it's sad, because even if we ignore being English, being from Europe means that European languages are widespread across the globe. Again, in Latin America, largely speaks Spanish. There's a French country, there's a Portuguese country in there too. But the majority of the language is Spanish. By learning Spanish, you can get by in this huge portion of the world here. And that's great, right? That's wonderful. There's a McDonald's, by the way. Interesting thing about McDonald's is they don't have touchscreens. There's a minor little minor little difference that you'll find as you go between high and medium income countries. Maybe this one does actually. This is a nice looking McDonald's, huh? Look, here's the interesting thing, by the way. If you want a hamburger, it's 44 pesos, which is $2 something. And if you want a double hamburger, that's $54, which is $2.50. I could be $2 like 51, something like that. Please tell me I nailed that conversion. Google it right now, and if I get that right, give me a point or a credit or something. Actually, you know, I want to see this McDonald's. I need some McDonald's review here anyway. I don't think I've ever done Mexico, right? That seems like a big miss. I felt like I did Spain on the way to Mexico once. But if I did Mexico, I've forgotten about it. Ooh, pretextgilius. And McDonald's, no se. See, stuff like that, right? Like a sign telling me something to do, not being able to understand it, is scary to me. It's like, this is not what I'm going for. It's not what I want in my life. But it's what you have to put up with for most people, 99+% of the world. And I'm very fortunate that it's only, I guess by land area, something like 70% of the world that doesn't have English as a main language or a large enough proficiency. This is scary to me. See, there's loads of these like crosswalks, but I don't know what the rules are as far as like actually crossing them goes. Am I just going? I'm just going. Like, there are stop signs, but there aren't traffic lights. And that's a minor detail that I can find interesting. As long as I can read some You know, as long as if there's a warning sign, I can read the warnings. As long as if someone says park here, I understand, oh, they want me to go to the park before I go to security because I've missed one of the great features of Mexico, and that is what the security guy is telling me. But also, you kind of know it's not true. What is this? This is like a fire station, but it's still like, it's like cutesy old, it's not actually old fire engines, because I'm assuming, but it's like what I picture in my head as a fire engine, but you never see in America. But you see here, and that's nice. Anyway, I feel like, I feel this, like, very sad feeling when I realize that, like, yeah, I find much less satisfaction from, like, and I find myself much less able to explore anywhere that is, you know, I find myself much less able to explore anywhere that is outside of the English-speaking hemisphere, which isn't a hemisphere at all. It's like very, very split apart. I guess I'm fortunate for that. That, like, you know, we can name a long list of countries that I feel like, is this the same street I was just on? Damn it, I think it is. How did that happen? The street just turned around. The street tricked me right there. I don't know how I did it, but I'm not happy. I want to get to the beach at least once in this video. That's my long-standing, that's my overarching goal that I'm going to try and pull off. We'll see if I'm successful. But, like, yeah, one of the reasons I think, like, a lot of people are really sad that English is for replacing their native language to some degree. You know, if for instance, if you're from the Dutch province of Friesland, I think is it Frisia? I forget the name. The currency is called Frisian. It's one of the closest languages to English. So it's probably a bad example for this. If you're from Norway and you speak one of the native Sami languages as your, you know, like as a second language because Norwegian is your first. Even heck, one of the closest home examples of this is Ireland or Wales. Even it's inside of the UK. You know, like, the need to learn Welsh as a second language, the need to learn Irish, the need to learn Sami, the need to learn Frisian is less so because the more useful languages rise to the top. And you know, the three most spoken languages are English, Mandarin, and Spanish. Depending on what list you use, you get different amounts of, like, are you going to count first speakers only, or are you going to count second speakers? Are you going to require a certain level of proficiency? Because if someone asks me, do I speak German, I'd say, like, yeah, I speak, you know, a little German. Like, I visited Germany like 20 times in 2016 or something like that. 2017? I don't know what years are anymore. But you know, I've been to Germany literally a couple dozen times. And so, like, I've not only have I picked up a bunch, but I was learning specifically to impress maybe someone I was dating at the time. But, like, you know, like, would you count me as a German speaker? I don't think you should. But also, you can't count me as, you have to count me somewhere on something for that, right? Like, I know maybe 200 German words at the top of my head. That sounds like nothing, but you only need, I want to say, 3,000 to fluently speak a language, and most people only have a vocabulary of like 8,000 anyway. It's all interesting stuff, right? Even Spanish, right? I learned Spanish in school, but I didn't. I slept a bunch. There's so many dumb things I know, like cumpleaños feliz, cumpleaños feliz, cumpleaños feliz, Andrew. I don't know if that's how you sing it at all. I just know it means happy birthday. So, like, años means year, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe age, actually. I'm pretty sure it's year. Like 4 años. Yeah, 4 años rum. So años is year. Also, my Spanish teacher said say años, not años, because años is something else. Oh, now I know how to say the poop receptacle. And it's like, yeah, even like I always want to mention, like, I'm incredibly fortunate in my problems sometimes. And the funny thing about fortunate problems, like being trapped in Mexico, like having to be in Mexico for 2 weeks, is a dream that so many American, like, this is the American part of Mexico. Let's be real with ourselves. That is a dream so many Americans wish they could pull off, and, like, they're scrimping and saving for. And I'm just here, like, yeah, would rather not be here given the choice, but legally I have to go from the safe country of the UK, COVID cases why, to the unsafe country of Mexico, so that the unsafe country of America will let me in. It seems absurd, and it is absurd, and, like, a little bit, you know, saltiness about that, but I think the funny thing about problems, like I don't know, there's so many problems I have that I think there's so many problems loads of everyone has in relation to being well off. Like I always use Notch on the billionaire example of like being a billionaire sounds incredible, but like it does bring its own set of problems. And there is a certain like I think you need to have self-awareness, but I also think like people assume money fixes all problems, and money can make, you know, money doesn't cause happipiness, but it definitely causes a lot of unhappiness points to go away. But also I think it causes its own series of unhappiness, you know. The did you hear that? Is it my phone? It's not my phone. It's always scary. I don't know my own phone ringtone, which I should learn because I get like freaked. I'm like, I get anxious for a phone call. Like there's one coming every time. But yeah, so it's really interesting to have problems that aren't shared by many people, or that seem like privileged problems. Well, let's be honest, they are. Like even this whole like the fact that I feel disconnected with non-English speakers, but it's like, well, you're lucky because it's English, the language that something like 1 billion people speak. You know, you got more people who speak English than you can ever know about. I can't imagine what it's like to speak, you know, a native Norwegian or Swedish language or something, and have a village of like 30 other people, one of whom is within 5 years of your age, if you want to get some dating on. Otherwise, you have to learn another language to meet more people. Like that sounds like a situation that is terrible to me. And that's why one of the things, like in the same way we standardized the metric system, I mean, we standardized the metric system bar America, Liberia, and that one other country I forget, that I think it's like Myanmar, but they effectively do use metric even in those 2 other countries. So we standardized the metric system besides one country. That is a very cute dog. We standardized the metric system. That was great. Now we can communicate distances, measures, stuff like that. And because we've also standardized numbers, the Arabic numerals as well. It's not actually quite Arabic numerals, and they're not even from the Middle East, but they're from India. But like we've standardized 1, meaning being that, like the fact that I can do this and this means 10, right? That's incredible. Like the word 10 is different in different languages. Oh, do I know what it is in Spanish? It's like uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Yeah, after 4 I get lost. I think quinto would be 5, right? It's quint something. Maybe I'm wrong on that. You know, the fact that we standardize so much, I feel like does more good than harm. I think a lot of people love to learn about, you know, in Europe before Arabic numerals, again, not Arabic, but we'll call them that to keep this video simple. Before Arabic numerals, you know, the I, X, etc. We did use that, and there is certainly a charm in learning old useless things. And if you're really into history like me, of course you're going to love those things. People who are really into languages are terrified beyond belief of languages dying out in favor of English. They hate that. They don't need that in their world. But also at the same time, it's interesting to know that I feel like the reason you'll hear more about that than the other side is because no one really needs to be in favor of English spreading more. No one needs to be in favor of just, you know, like I'd say Spanish is probably spreading at a similar enough rate, slightly slower, but similar. No one needs to be too terrified of Chinese spreading as a language, partly because they're not really pushing it to spread, and partly because, you know, again, like it's like the fewer languages we have as a species, I feel like, facilitates more communication in a lot of ways. We can save native languages via digital means, but what we can't do via digital means is explain to someone what parquet means at security and why they would tell me 6 times and then stuff after that. And yeah, I wish, I think one of the things about talking to the internet is you expose sometimes the weakest aspects of yourself that probably make you seem pretty weird. Like, I think trying to explain any amount of anxiety to anyone, no thank you man, trying to explain any amount of anxiety to anyone, whether it's about someone offering you a hat or, or whatever else it is. This is a pretty little marina, hey? Again, Americans come here and they buy a boat apparently too. Isn't that cute? Good thing to want to do. I've always wondered how these stock things work, right? Do you just pull it? Do they have a key? How does any of that go? Like they try to stop you going around it with those little things, but obviously you can. Anyway, so something I think about a lot is the benefit, is the great good being brought about. Bienvenido. See, I know how to say welcome in Spanish too. I guess I can't actually say it. Bienvenidos. Like bueno, but like bienvenidos. And then this is, you know, we're not gonna bother. We're not gonna try. But there's a really interesting. Oh, look at that! See, look how themed this place is. It's all very quirky and fun. And if you're on American holiday, you're gonna love it. You're gonna have the best American holiday of your damn life. And honestly, as I travel more, I always wanna. I think a lot of people who get really into travel. I watch a few travel YouTubers. The only places they recommend are these super vague places like, oh yeah, there's this great island. You can only get there by flying to war-torn Yemen and then catching a boat that only travels once a month. But it's one of the most beautiful places you'll ever stay. And when I hear stuff like that, it's like, what do you mean? Who is this for? Who is, like, you know, I think you see a lot of people who travel too much and end up talking about only the, like, I feel this is true of any hobby. It's something I try to limit. Also, I feel like we should try and keep this video at least somewhat on topic. Let's weave it through there. But like going too far into any, like every subject of interest is like a rabbit hole. And sometimes you go too far down the rabbit hole to the degree where no one can understand you unless they've also gone down there. Trying to not do that is one of the things that I try my best to do, partially as a result of this YouTube channel. And the other thing is, ooh, look at this. You can get straight down to the water if you want to. But something else I consider frequently. Ooh, Romeo and Julieta, Ristorante. Oh, that's an ad. I thought that was telling me about something nearby. It's so interesting to see the, like, different, across the, when there's different climates, different places. Like a lot of people, to stay on track here, a lot of people feel like language contains all of the culture within it. Like, if you remove all the language, we will become one giant people. And I think that's so interesting because it's like patently not true, right? I mean, like Americans are descended from literally the same people off the island that I call home. But like, there are so many differences. Like even, you know, the places that cater to European tourists and the places that cater to American tourists, so many bizarre differences. You know, like that, and that, you know, but so even ignoring the tourist bits, like, yeah, like Americans are, even if they're the same genetic people, they're self-selected people who are willing to make a 30-day journey on the promise of work. That's gonna change your attitude towards something, right? But also they also have a much larger space to deal with. They have a whole continent with which to roam, which will affect a lot of other things about like how you view the concept of a nation's borders, how you view, you know, the concept of national parks and states and federalism. All of that changes the mindset. And so even though there might be some broad agreement that goes back to the usual suspects bar and grill, very cute, there might be some agreement that you can track back to the genetics, to the fact that they're the same. Am I recording? I am. The truth is, people are very different. Even maybe this is the thing I realize more than anything else, the more, I think the thing you should realize the more than anything else when you travel is how much people have in common across everything. Like, I think that you have more in common with someone on the other side of the world in terms of like, you know, even if they look entirely different to you, they've got wildly different skin tones or however we measure it in modern day society for whatever reason. But, which is, you know, mostly that, right? I guess it's not necessarily just skin tone, it's like ancestry and skin tones, but like people consider me to be white despite my ancestry, which I like, I'll take that. You know, I hear that's the good one to be. But it's interesting to see, right? It's interesting to talk about and think about. But like the thing you realize is that like this difference between thoughts and between valuing like which of the values you have changes everywhere across the world. And I don't think it should be discouraged. I don't think it's, oh, look at that. See, there's a flag of, we got America, we got Canada, Mexico, got the EU, and then we got, I'm assuming, I'm not sure what that is. Maybe Baja California? Not too sure though. I don't know where this goes, by the way. There seems to, is this a boat fueling station? I've never seen that before. It might, yeah, I guess that would be, right? That is crazy. That is, it's like a gas station, but for boat gas. That's adorable. I can't believe I've never seen that before. So yeah, I'm here in a place that you probably might not expect. And it's mostly because of that American factor. You know there's gonna be, at the very least, some aiming towards people in English. Like, look at this sign right here. Fresh oysters, seafood, lobster, whole snapper. If you hook it, we cook it 8 different ways. That's fun. I don't really want to do that or need to know that. But I think as someone who's like, I can't try to quite describe it. Maybe it's even like, I feel like it's the same fear of like the outside that causes people to be xenophobic, or causes people to be so insular towards people who aren't their family, you know? But like, there's a certain fear of the unknown, and a certain distrust of the unknown. Again, partially that comes from, I'm sure, having been robbed by the unknown twice in my life. I'm sure, well actually, what I can do is I can insult, because I'm partly Irish, I can insult the fact that I was an Irish traveller of some form that stole my luggage in London. They confirmed. They traced the suspect. I don't know if I believe this, but they said they found the guy, but he fled to Ireland before they could prosecute him. If you remember, I got once I had my phone stolen in the Dominican Republic, in Santo Domingo, and once I had my bag stolen on a train. They traced the guy back to Ireland, and then they didn't. And you know, as a result, like, you know, like some guy who just came here, committed some crimes, then went home, that might impact your fear of the unknown, right? I don't know, like realizing that people, you know, like when you're surrounded by people in your own group that have a fear of the outside, you'll assume that, oh yeah, it's because the outside's objectively worse. When you meet people from that outside group that have a fear of the outside, including you, that makes you realize that like, this isn't like an objective human thing. This is a fear of the unknown. This is a thing we have across multiple places. Seeing the same story told, but in entirely different contexts to fit different cultures. These are giant boats, by the way. What is the scoop? But when you see, when you see like the same thing, but slightly altered to cater to someone else, it makes you realize something. What is that something? Who knows for sure? All I know is I think we're gonna find the beach here, actually. Heck yeah. I'm excited to not go on the beach, because who even likes beaches? So, yeah, this is the same thing, actually. Like, I feel disconnected from most people who, even, you know, inside my own country or town or village or whatever. Because, like, if this is the most common holiday, just come to a place that's basically your place with some very minor differences, and like, you know, enjoy the much hotter weather, which, by the way, not a fan of hot weather, and the beach, because you know what I want in my life? I want to go somewhere. I want to go somewhere that is sandy, and so I want to go onto a little plain of rocks, miniature rocks that burn when you step on them, and that you'll be stuck in your hair for months after you. Oh, this is a ferry terminal. Huh. So interesting. I wonder where the ferries go. I should look into that. That sounds interesting. But oh, look at this, by the way. Look at this little manhole cover. What the heck is going on there? Agua portable, and it's got a little Aztec looking figure. How fascinating, huh? But yeah, I think realizing what you do know and what you do have in common and what you don't have in common with other people is a valuable thing, huh? And I might not have beaches in common with anyone. Actually, I think like half people hate beaches. I think it's one of those basic things, right? Where like we all say we like as a society, and so it does the job because most people don't hate it that wildly. But yeah, this is Cabo San Lucas. This is where I'm spending 2 weeks, debatably off. This is kind of scary actually. About not scary is not the right word, but like a little worrying to do this while I'm unbalanced. Oh, look at that! Look at those, whatever those birds are. There are just birds filling that boat. That is adorable. I like that. That is cute. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I didn't round up with any points in this video. So my main point here is everyone has problems. your dream is someone's nightmare, and your nightmare is someone's dream. It's probably, yeah. I feel like your nightmare being someone's dream is like less likely, less common, but still a thing. But your current situation is someone's dream. Even like so around here, there's a lot of Americans and Canadians, not just like visitors, but people who have moved here full time. The ability to just like live in another country is yeah, and you know, that country being your country, is something that you probably, you know, people spend years and thousands of dollars and lots of paperwork trying to get something that you have as a God-given right. And God-given right is a wrong word for that, as a country-given right. And it's interesting to me. Like, so many people, like, yeah, like, I see this all across the English-speaking world. Like, my country sucks. Even in New Zealand, there's people being like, you know, right now they're the one country that, because they're so isolated, doesn't have COVID. They're still like, yeah, well, you know, but we didn't legalize cannabis, so I mean, what's the point of even living here? And it's interesting because it's all relative, is what I learned from all of that. Whoa, that boat is made from just glass. It looks like it's not glass; it's clear plastic. How does that even work? That is interesting stuff, huh? But yeah, this is Cabo San Lucas. Is there any actual beach around here? I mean, I'm sure there is. I don't care about beach, but I like this little rock thing. Look how clear the water is. Can anyone tell me why water is just not clear in like Europe? But it's always clear when I go anywhere in the Americas. Have they just not polluted their water as much as we have? Is that the real truth? I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments down below. And for now, just remember, someone dreams after your situation, and if that motivates you, let it motivate you. But also just know that someone likes, when people do things, it's not some grand conspiracies to do bad things. It's usually just like, yeah, it's kind of like what I know, and like what I know is a lot better than, it's like the fast food of holidays, right? It's what you want sometimes. You just want to go somewhere, relax, come home. You don't want to worry about all the steps in between. I had a whole nightmare yesterday morning transferring between terminals at the Mexico City airport, and then again transferring between terminals at the Cabo airport, because I was trying to avoid taxi fees, because they have taxi carter. It's a whole thing, you know. I in those moments it was very stressful. And if you're a family coming on holiday, do you want to deal with that? Probably not. You just want to go straight to the place and lay down on a beach somewhere or something, I guess, and look at some birds. These birds are adorable. Yeah, you don't think the birds are adorable? You should unsubscribe. Okay, thank you for watching. Third channel. Don't care. I'll see you all around, probably, or maybe I won't. The next couple of weeks, I see my goal is to be in a heavily English-speaking place. Stay away from people. I don't know why I feel so obliged to do that for America. You'd figure, like, given the United States of America's relative, you know, high cases, I don't know why I'm doing them a favor by trying not to get COVID before going there. I feel like they, maybe this can be used against me if I say that, actually. You know, I feel like they're a wonderful country, and I look forward to my visit. And, ooh, that one's a glass bottom boat. Oh, that's fun. There's a lot of fun boats around here. I guess it makes sense. You're by the sea. Tourists want to see the sea. They'll get a boat to see it, I guess. But yeah, I don't want to stop talking, but I just want to tell you, gonna try and relax for the next couple of weeks. I'm only working on Minecraft maps and playing Stardew Valley, and then going out to get some food and going a little explore every now and then. Might have a McDonald's review. I'm gonna have to go look up if I've done a Mexican McDonald's review. Man, I've done so many countries I've forgotten which ones I've done, which is a problem that many people would like to have, but for me it just means I have to hit Google on something. Anyway, yeah, thank you for watching. Third channel, goodbye.